What's up, y'all? It is June 1st, 2024, and I'm currently 21 years old. My birthday's in 8 days, by the way. I'm 21 now. 21, what happened during 21? For the first 6 months of being 21, I was in a relationship. And then for the second half, I've been completely single with no ties to another party. So that's kind of interesting for like half and half, being tied to a person and then like not. I would say that's one of my reflections from being 21, is to not invest yourself so deeply into a relationship with someone while you're still so young. I feel like when you're 21 years old, yes, you're grown, but also too, like, you're still pretty fucking young. And so with that comes a lot of change. Like a lot of change. So the way that I see it is like, how can you really get to know someone and be connected with them on such an intimate plane when one, that person doesn't even really know themselves for real, and two, they're trying to figure that out, which leads to number three, that the person that you meet is not going to be the person that you finish with, and it's going to be hard to like kind of stay in a relationship with the person when they're not the person that you first got into a relationship with. I feel like this is such a transitional period that it's better to not form attachments. Yeah, that's another thing. I'm learning a lot of lessons about attachment lately, I will say. I think that, no, I don't think. I know that I'm a very sensitive, soft-hearted person. It's okay for me to be sensitive. Like, it's okay. Like, that's literally who I am. And it only causes me more stress. It only causes me more hurt. It only causes me more anger. It only hurts my relationships for me to pretend to be something that I'm not. And so it's just about finding people that are able to reciprocate, and also to people that are able to take me as I am and understand like the depth of my emotions. Now that I've accepted the fact that I'm sensitive and I'm being loyal to the fact that I'm sensitive, I can honor my emotions and tell people, hey, I didn't like how that made me feel. Hey, I think we might be having an issue on this level. Hey, I want to talk about this. All it takes is a conversation. And I found myself feeling way less triggered and way less anxious when I just ask a question and so I have an answer. And so I'm not going out and trying to create a scenario or create an answer for myself out of nothing, when that person could just tell me, you know? And when you just ask someone to be honest with you, 9 times out of 10, they'll just be honest. And if they're not, you know, like, that's not something that I can control. Not triggering myself. If I know that this is a person that doesn't have hands soft enough to hold me, then don't put your feelings in that person's hands. You know what I mean? It's really that simple. You don't gotta change how you love, you just need to change who you love, which is what I mean by like not triggering myself and understanding who I can give my kind of love to, because not everyone can receive it, and that's okay. Like I said, I'm soft. It's easy for me to get attached to people. If I love you, I love you. That's really all it is. But I'm learning that sometimes like forming an attachment to someone there's more than what meets the surface. Sometimes that attachment is not coming from a place of pure love. You know what I mean? It's not coming from a place of love and like genuine interest. Sometimes it's coming from a place of trauma. It's coming from a place of fear. It's coming from a place of anxiety. Sometimes that person that you're attached to them because they're triggering things inside of you. Again, stop triggering yourself. I found myself being attached to people who cannot be consistent with me, with people who cannot do the things that are important for me, which does not make them bad people, but it does make them incompatible with who I am specifically. I can't control people. That's something that I've really, really learned lately, is that I can't control people and I can't control the circumstances in my life, and that whatever God has planned for me, whatever is meant to happen is gonna happen, and there's no amount of planning, there's no amount of micromanagement, there's no amount of like burnout that can change the fact that what's meant to happen will happen. Having a personal style, right? So for me, the way that I appear in this world is very important. Very important, because I'm Dominican, as you can see. So that's part of the culture. You don't leave the house looking crazy, like, ever. Like, that's not something that you are supposed to do as a woman, and as a Dominican woman specifically. I was gonna say for the men, but the men do be leaving the house looking crazy. So yes, there might be underlying issues to that. I understand that, but it's also a cultural norm that I abide by and that I agree with. And let me tell you the reason why I agree with it. The reason why I agree with it is because your appearance matters. The way that you appear in this world, the way that people perceive you and encounter you is extremely, incredibly important. Humans are vain by nature, right? So when you see someone and you meet them for the first time, you have thoughts about them that appear in your head against your will. So even if you don't want to make assumptions about a person, those assumptions are already popping up in your head just based off of how they look. When you put a lot of time and attention into yourself, not even just into the way you look, that's just like putting love back into yourself. You know what I mean? Think about when you have like a significant other, or you want to like rub their back, you know, or do things that make them feel good, or your best friend, you want to do things that make them feel good. And so I see it the same way. I just see it as doing something that makes me feel good, you know? And so once you step out into the world, the effort that you put into making yourself feel good translates into all your interactions. When you have a full cup, you have more to pour from. But when you have an empty cup, you don't have nothing to give. So having your designated look means that you put care and time into yourself. And so you have more capacity to be kind and caring and loving and giving to the people around you. What's another thing that I learned at 21? I think another thing that I learned at 21 is to invest time into doing the things that you want to do, even if you have to do it by yourself. So I'm a really communal person, and I really love having people around me, and I love being with my friends, and I love doing things with people, and I love talking about things with other people. And you know, like, I love to call my friend and hear what she thinks about this thing that I'm doing, or I like to share my art with people before it's even done. And I love community, and I love conversation, and I love talking, and I love being with other people. And so sometimes I will get into these modes where I'm like, damn, I really want to go see this exhibit, but I have no one to go with. And so I would sit at home and I just wouldn't go. But if you think about that, and you think about how crazy that is, to not do the things that you want to do because another person doesn't want to do it, that's an act of disloyalty to yourself. You know what I mean? Because for me personally, for people that I love, there are few things that I wouldn't do for them to make them feel good, to make them happy because they love it. And so why would you stop yourself from doing something that you want to do because somebody else doesn't want to do it with you? You know what I mean? That's what I mean by being loyal to yourself. Treat yourself. I've learned to treat myself the same way that I would treat my best friend, my loved one, my partner. Because I think as humans, we get so caught up and putting out love and making sure we're treating other people well, and we give and we give and we give and we give, and we end up so empty because we're not giving nothing to ourselves. And so for me, I've gotten to a point where I did that. I've gotten to a point where I've given people so much of myself, and I wasn't doing nothing for myself. I wasn't keeping my room clean. I wasn't reading. I wasn't journaling. I wasn't doing things that I loved. I wasn't having my own individual hobbies outside of another person. And I just kind of learned that at the end of the day, it has to be me above anybody else. And so I started doing things that I like to do by myself. Going on solo dates. I went on my first solo date at 21, and I went to a sushi bar, and I vlogged. I made a whole vlog video to post on my Instagram. I got a drink. I chatted with the servers. I smiled and laughed at the babies around me. I had a really good time. I talked to myself. You know, I'll take myself out to go get a drink. I'll go to a museum by myself just to go look at the art. I'll go see galleries by myself. I'll go take a walk by myself, you know, and it's like, these little things really do help build your self-esteem, and it's really helped me build my self-esteem, and it's helped me build a better relationship with myself, because I'll go out and I'll do these things. Let's say, for example, I'm out and I'm taking a walk and I'm surrounded by nature, and I just feel so filled with joy and with love and happiness, and I'm like, damn, like, this is really all I need. Like, this is really all I need, and I don't feel like I'm missing anything in my life, because I am so fulfilled by the things around me, because I've cultivated these routines and I've cultivated these third places where I can go to find pleasure independent of another person. Another really, really, really important thing that I've learned at 21 is to build those family relationships, bro. Build your family relationships. I'm very, very, very lucky and blessed to have such a close-knit family that we love each other and we're here for each other, and I just have a lot of love in my life, right? But I feel like, again, this aspect of not communicating, not being able to say how I feel and getting angry and keeping my emotions in a lot of that came from me not being able to tell my family about how I was feeling, about how something affected me, about how I didn't like something that they did. And so this year, I've really started talking to my family more. I've really started trying to get to know my mother more outside, independent of being my mom. And I think a big part of growing up for me, of turning 21 and becoming a woman, is understanding that my mom is not just my mom. She's a human being, that her life doesn't begin and end with me. You know, she had a life before me, and she has her own independent thoughts. She has her own life. She has her own anxieties and fears. She has her own regrets in her life. And realizing that I might have been too hard on her growing up. And you know, I was a kid, and it took me wisdom and learning to get to that point. But realizing that all I had to do to have a closer relationship with my mother was to just talk to her. And you know, and to try to get to know her and to tell her, like, I didn't like when you did that. And so it took me a while to be able to communicate that to her. And I definitely had a hard time doing it. And so the first couple times that I did it and I told her something that I didn't like about her, and told her real honestly, like, hey, like, this is how I'm feeling, I don't fuck with that, it didn't come out in the best way. It wasn't the most gentle, it wasn't the kindest form of communication. But at the end of the day, we had that conversation, and once we broke that ice, we were open on the path to becoming closer. So we didn't have like the worst relationship in the world, but I was definitely not as close to my mother as I would have liked to have been. Now we hug each other every day. I call her just to talk to her. I'll go stop by her job just to talk to her, and we just have a more playful and open relationship. And I just feel way better. And me opening that pathway to her and being able to connect with her on that level has really helped me open up those relationships with all the other women in my family and become even closer with them, not just based off the merit that they are my family members, but on a human to human basis, with my sister, with my aunt, just sitting down and talking with them, you know. And I think that's part of a generational storyline that I want to start. I want to start having these dialogues. I want it to be normal in my family now, and for the next generation and generation and generation, for us to just talk to each other and to love each other and to just be open with one another. I feel like when you're in such close proximity to a person, when you grew up in the same household, when you're just always around each other, you just kind of assume that you know them and that you don't really need to talk to them and get to know them as much as you would one of your friends, because that's just your mom, that's just your sister. Like, of course you know her. Like, you don't really need to ask her what she likes, what her favorite food is, whatever, how she feels about certain topics. You just assume. And I don't think that really gives them enough grace. I don't think we give each other enough grace in that respect. And I feel like if we really took the time to get to know each other more, that things would flourish and flow much better. And I found that to be true in my experience. My relationship with God, with spirit, with the universe, with spirituality, period, has gotten so much stronger in 21. So much stronger, yo. Oh my goodness. How could I even forget about that one? Dude, I've always been a spiritual person, but I never really had a structured religion in my household. Like, I'm Catholic by association. My grandmother is Catholic, and I'll go to church with her. But my mother specifically was never really religious, so I didn't grow up in a church or anything. So I didn't really have a connection to God necessarily. Like, I would always say, thank God, or I'll say, I'll pray for you, whatever. But it was never something that I really put a lot of mind into until 21. where I started to be around more people who were more into their faith, and I started to really think about it a little bit more, and I'm like, I kind of really want to get closer to God. And so I did. And I've started praying more consistently, and just talking to God more and expressing my gratitude for the life that God has given me a lot more often, and it has completely changed the trajectory of my life. I feel like I'm much happier. I feel like I'm generally more grateful for the things in my life. I feel like I'm generally a more pleasant person to be around, more optimistic, and I find that I just have a deeper trust and connection to myself. But I also really do believe in spirituality, in the sense of like trusting in the universe and the world around you. And I would say my spiritual makeup is comprised of like a lot of different things. Like I pull from a lot of different areas. I also believe in astrology a lot. Learning about astrology more has really helped my life. Human design. Learning about human design has completely changed the trajectory of my life. I could make a whole video on that. And tarot is another thing that I've added into my routine lately. I don't do it myself, but I have a trusted friend who reads my tarot cards every once in a while. I don't like to depend on it too much, but integrating these kinds of things into my life, I really feel has really given me more of a sense of purpose and more direction in life, and just more trust, and has really helped me with that release point that I discussed earlier, like maintaining my spiritual hygiene. I'm not leaving the house without maintaining my spiritual hygiene. I'm not even gonna get into it because y'all don't need to know, but just know, like, the spiritual hygiene, you gotta keep it up, bro. You gotta keep it up. It takes a lot to be in this world with so much love and light and pureness and fucking pure intentions and love and care and all of the things. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of behind the scenes work. And then when you show up in the world and you present, and people don't understand why you're so happy all the time, they don't understand why you're so optimistic, that bothers a lot of people. A lot of people are bothered by that. A lot of people are bothered by an uplifting spirit because they have a lot of their own things going on, and it's not their fault. But I have to take the proper precautions to make sure that I'm protected against that. I feel like I could just keep going on and on. I should have written this down, bruh. Yeah, I don't know. Maintaining my creative practice, not doubting myself, surrounding myself with people who have similar interests to me, interdisciplinary learning. I love art, I love creativity, I love people who are beautiful, kind, positive people. And so surrounding myself with people who are that, who live in a way similar to the way that I like to live my life, is very, very, very important, because it keeps you on track. It helps you feel more seen. These people will put you in positions to be in a better position. These people will understand you better because they're on the same kind of path as you. We all walk different paths, but when your path is aligned with somebody else, you need to keep that person close to you because they understand you kind of on a different level than other people do. And it's not always the easiest thing to come across beautiful, kind, genuine people who are ready to receive and give love in the same way that you do. And so I found it really important to like invest in my friendships. Letting myself follow my heart. Everything doesn't have to be based in logic. I have the option of trusting my intuition and using my discernment and making decisions based off of what I am feeling, off of the feeling in my stomach, off the feeling in my chest, and it doesn't have to be logical. Western society wants us to believe that every decision should be based in logic, that every argument should be based in logic. Sometimes things just are because that's the way that they are. And there is no logical explanation for it. There's no reason why this is the right decision. It may sound crazy to everybody else. It may look crazy to everybody else. But if it's right for me, it's right for me. That being said, I've already talked for like 40 minutes. My thoughts are like just not organized right now, but I can't believe that I've learned that much. Like sitting down and actually recapping all the things that I've learned this year and all the ways that I've grown is so amazing. And there's only a week left until I turn 22. So I'm officially in my 20s and I'm not getting any younger. I'm not getting any younger. So I hope that 22 will be filled as just as many love and light and blessings and lessons and things that are hard and things that help me grow. And I know it will be, you know, because that's what I see for myself, and that's what I want to happen, and that's what I'm just bringing in. And I know that y'all will wish me well too. I'll keep y'all updated on how my birthday goes. Happy June 1st, happy Pride Month, happy Juneteenth if I don't see y'all for Juneteenth. Live, laugh, love. Thank you for listening. I hope some of the things that I shared today resonate with you, and I hope that you continue to live and love and light, and that you have a beautiful day and have a beautiful life. And I love you so much. Thank you.